So the 2025 Formula One season is about to conclude with the season finale at Abu Dhabi. Woohoo! Um, Ultimately, this year's championship is worthless, absolutely worthless, in terms of what it actually represents. To whoever actually uh, gets the title. I don't want to use the word wins or is awarded. Okay, whoever gets the title, it's going to mean nothing because it's been an entirely manipulated championship yet again. Now, if you are Lando Norris and you grew up wanting to be a Formula One racing car driver and you had aspirations of being a world champion, this championship means nothing. It's been manipulated whereby your teammate has been nobbled so that you were favoured in favour of them when they were outperforming you. That's clear. So that's what's happened for you, Norris. And in conjunction with that, you also know that they've nobbled the McLaren team to to manufacture this title battle going down to the last race of the season. But that being said, they manufactured it so that Red Bull were deprived from being the lead runner in this championship to to engage people, to draw people in, to make people think, oh, there's going to be a different champion this year. And then they created the narrative, oh, Max is going to come back now. Oh, it's going to be great. It's always a narrative that's being created. Okay, they manufacture that. That's not authentic. Okay, they make that happen. So the only winner of the 2025 Formula One season is the show. That's the only winner. Tomorrow at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, they're going to have probably, or they'll report, in excess of 100 million viewers of the event. In excess, I mean, Abu Dhabi 2021, 108.7 million viewers. Now, whether it will be the same as that, whether it will be more than that, who knows? I would like to think that it's not going to be quite as much. But who knows? I mean, how many kiddies have they managed to brainwash since 2021? They attracted more kiddies, didn't they? They keep lying to people, they keep bullshitting people, and people are too fucking thick to realise that they're being lied to about this shit show. This shit show of a corrupt sport, right? People are too brain dead. The smooth brains, they're all excited. They're all excited. They don't realise it's being manipulated. But the show will be making billions out of it. And they'll all be able to add another billion to the value of each of their teams. Toto's Mercedes team now, oh, let's tell everybody we're now worth 5.8 billion. Yeah, why not? Pick a number. Let's triple it. We'll tell everybody that's what we're now worth. And yeah, all the brands that have got their brand advertised in the show, they're getting the eyes of the world on their brand, so they're all happy. And everyone thinks, oh, Formula One, lots of people watch that. We should advertise in Formula One, so we get our brand advertised to all of the smooth brains watching. They'll buy our shit. They'll buy our shit, because if they buy that shit, they'll buy our shit. That's the way it works. So it doesn't matter what the result is in Abu Dhabi. It doesn't matter whether or not they contrive something in Abu Dhabi. And the reason it doesn't matter, because we've got three of the same four stewards from Abu Dhabi 2021. We've got Derek Warwick, and we've got Gary Connolly and Mohammed Al Hashmi. The only one we're missing of the four is Felix Holter. He's been replaced with somebody else. But true to form is Derek Warwick and Connolly. Two corrupt fuckers. Absolute corrupt fuckers. And the other guy that was there in 2021, he'll know what the crack is. He will know what took place in that room, and he knows what this show, this facade, is all about. So do they manufacture a spectacle tomorrow? Who knows? Who knows? We can't predict it. You know, we I think what has made things more challenging for them is the Oscar no, not Oscar, the Lando Norris overtake of Kimi Antonelli. Because were it not for that, then Lando could have there could have been a 1-2-3 with Lando finishing third, and Max would have won the title. This time, Lando can finish third, and he'll be champion. So it just makes it more difficult for them to manipulate it in a way where Max wins it and Lando finishes lower than third to achieve both of them things. It's not impossible, and they'll have had people coming up with ideas as to how it can be done. And who knows? Who knows? I mean, you can make predictions, but whatever you predict, they'll just make you look silly by doing it their way because you couldn't make it up, could you? But we'll see. I mean, ultimately, if they do, we'll pick it apart. But they don't need to. The reason they don't need to, because there'll be over 100 million people watching. So they've achieved what they set out to achieve. They achieved to get the money. It's all about money. It's all about eyes on the show. And that's what they did. They contrived it to make the show go down to the last race of the season, so you get this massive spectacle, the season finale, and you've kept people engaged and excited throughout the entire season by manipulating and manufacturing it. By, again, you go through the entire season. This is the season where Max Verstappen lost his rag and drove his car into another car in George Russell. He did that. No penalty as such. Nothing that should have been. That should be a race ban at least for doing such a thing. At least one race ban. You make an example of somebody that does that sort of thing. No. We could go through the entire season and go through all the different infringements. Who was punished for what? Who wasn't punished for what? For that. It really, it becomes laughable, the amount of manipulation that goes on. And we've known, so ever since 2021, a certain driver doesn't get penalised for their atrocious driving, and yet other drivers do. This is how they manipulate it. This is the show. This is how they incite people. This is how they rile the fans to get fans to keep engaging. They keep doing it because they purposefully incite people. And they know what the dynamics of social media is about. They know we've got some absolute shits of human beings. All up there with like the worst of fucking humanity. Some of these absolute cocksuckers are, right? Now, these are the kind of people that inhabit the social media comment sections. The typical strap-on fanboy, okay? And this is what they then cause. This is the dynamic that it causes. People can't talk about an authentic sport properly anymore because it's not an authentic sport. People have been tribalised. People have been incited. We're watching a shit show. Those people that are calling it out are just met with the super fanboy, the toxic trolling super fanboy. And this is what the show has now become. It's an absolute shit show. But I'll do what I can do to fix it. I'll do what I can do to fix it. But that'll be in the aftermath of Abu Dhabi. That'll be to come. Anyway, just to wrap this video up, I just want to talk you through a little bit of manipulation, because this whole ground effect era has been bullshit. If you remember, going into ground effect era, 2021 season was the budget cap era. It began. If you remember, because of COVID, things were set back. This ground effect era should have started in 2021, but because of COVID, they decided, for whatever reason, that whether it was because of getting things online and getting things ready to start the season for the 2021 season, were all impacted by the lockdowns and the shutdowns of factories and things like that. So maybe they said, right, you've got to continue with your existing car, which everybody's already set up with, but they still amended the regulations to make it more challenging for the low rate cars, which were Mercedes and Racing Point, giving the advantage to the Red Bull high rate Adrian Newey design philosophy. That was 2021. Cost cap era though. And Red Bull breached. So not only were Red Bull not disqualified from 2021, the one where they fixed Abu Dhabi to gift Max the championship, they developed the ground effect car with that budget as well, which they breached. So they overspent in the development of that car. That makes them should have been disqualified for 2022. But no, they allowed the drug cheats to win in 2022. They knew they cheated, but they allowed them to use that cheat car. You can go look down there. The wins of these races, we had a couple of Ferrari victories, but then we've got this Austrian flag. Red Bull Racing, Red Bull Racing, Red Bull Racing, Red Bull Racing. See how many races that Red Bull won? And you can go to the results for the season. And you've got Max Verstappen. There he is, winning everything, isn't he? And we have to... some of these layouts on Wikipedia aren't as good as they should be, unfortunately. I have to scroll across for the latter part of the season. And there he is again, winning everything in sight. Is that because he's so good, or is that because the car is so much better than everything else? Now, what did that do to the Constructors' Championship? And look at the Constructors' results here. Red Bull absolutely obliterated the field, having overspent. So you can cheat, you can get to keep the benefit of your cheating, and you're allowed to compete in this sport and smash everybody by cheating, which is what Red Bull did. 2022. Ferrari came second. Mercedes with that shit car, right? That shit thing which had no side pods. Remember that? And they persevered with that for 2023 as well. Right? Remember that? Mercedes came third. Alpine fourth. And here's McLaren. McLaren in fifth position in the Constructors' Championship in the ground effect era. And look how many points, 159 points. Look at Mercedes, 500 points, 515. So you got Red Bull 759, Ferrari 554, Mercedes 515, and then Alpine down at 173, and McLaren in fifth at 159. That's pretty shit. We move into 2023. This was the season where, this season, we've got the narrative, haven't we, this season about, oh, this car works at this track, but it doesn't work at this track. This car from this manufacturer, oh, yes, this sort of track suits them, but not this track. So certain tracks suit certain cars is the narrative this year. 2023, that wasn't the case. Because you see that this list down here. The winning constructor was Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull. They'd got a car for every track, apart from Singapore. Okay, apart from Singapore, that was the only track that their car didn't work at. Rather bizarre. And then there's Max there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. You get the picture. Finished fifth in Singapore. About won everything else. Early stage of the season, Perez was able to contest for victories, but they didn't like that for too long. They didn't like that. And then, the wheels fall off of Perez's car. We're going through an era of 2022 was the flexible plank, the plank that was designed to bend in two places. That's not allowed. We won't say anything about that. When was it 2024 we got asymmetric braking and this manoeuvrable height bib from a lever inside the cockpit? What's that? Are these Adrian Newey's genius cheat devices? What? Who knows? Who knows the genius now at Aston Martin? And you can see all the genius that he's producing there. Or maybe it's going to be next year where it's Aston Martin's turn. Who knows? But look, let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship. So we've got Red Bull again. 860 points. Second place team, Mercedes, with that shit zero pod car. Right? I think they did partway through the season change the design, but they started the season again with the zero pod concept. less than half the number of points, 409 points. And then Ferrari, 406. McLaren, 302. Now, 302 is still significantly behind, and it's miles behind Red Bull. That's 2023. The cheat car that got developed, and it's a car for all track. Now, 2024, we can look to 2024, and this was again manipulation at its finest, because again that dominant 2023 car was blitzing everything. You won't remember it like that because the way that the season panned out, you won't remember it like that. But that's what was happening, because Max won. This was when Max did not finish. It's when his brake exploded. His brake was binding on, and then when he pulled into the pits with his brake issues, the brake exploded, propelling a projectile out the side of the car. Extremely unsafe. Okay, but otherwise, that would have probably been a Max win there. Max won, and then we get to Miami, which was Lando Norris's first win of his entire career, was it not? Remember this was the one where Zach Brown invited presidential candidate Donald Trump to the Orange Garage. The Orange Man to the Orange Garage. And the man with the Midas touch helped Lando to his first win. This was the dodgy safety car, wasn't it? This was the extremely dodgy safety car deployment that essentially gave Lando a lap on everybody at one stage. It was totally fucking rigged. But that afforded Lando his first ever race victory. Were it not for that rigging, it's likely that Max would have won that one. Emilia Romagna. Max won. See these P's? They're where he got poles as well. Monaco, 6. Now, that was probably contrived for Charles Leclerc. You know, that's the way it works. Oh, the Monegasque, let him win his home Grand Prix. We'll give him that one. And obviously it's a track where you can't overtake. So these positions at Monaco, again, you can underperform in qualifying. Some shit can happen. You ain't going to make them places back. So these are Monaco's can produce outlier results. But were it not for that, Canada, Max wins. Spain, Max wins. 5th here, pole in Austria, right? 1 point for fastest lap, was it? 2nd in Great Britain. Oh, back to the Netherlands, he's allowed to get somewhere near in his own country. But were it not for the retirement here, 1, 2, we'll ignore that one, 3, 4, contrived against him, but that would have been another victory as well. That probably would have been as well. That one there. This is the 7th. We've got to ignore the 8th race. 9, 10 races. Who's the dominant car? Who's the dominant driver? Oh, that's Max. What are we going to do? Oh, we're going to get a season like before where Max is going to dominate it and the audience is going to switch off, aren't they? So what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to have to start letting the other drivers start winning now. So we're starting to see wins here and wins here. So the Ferrari drivers are getting a few wins. We're getting a few wins for the McLaren drivers. We're even getting the Mercedes drivers with a few wins. Lewis Hamilton wins his home Grand Prix at Silverstone, and he also wins in Belgium, despite the fact that Mercedes tried to fuck him. They tried to fuck him by trying to get George Russell to win. But that was Belgium 2004. But here we go. We've got McLaren are now the team to beat. Where's that come from then? Where's that come from? The Red Bull now has fallen off a cliff. That has just become a tractor. No, it hasn't. This is called manipulation. This is called the show trying to invigorate viewing figures again by manipulating things to make it appear that other teams are in with a chance, but just to make sure that Max wins. Red Bull finds its. It only finds its performance now at certain tracks. It managed to come 2nd at Singapore, 3rd in the USA. because Max always does well in the USA. You have to keep Red Bull looking good in the USA. But he has to win in Brazil and he has to win in Qatar. But other than that, oh no, it's a tractor. It can only finish 6th in Mexico. It can only finish 5th in America. And it can only finish 6th in Abu Dhabi. But Supermax can win when Supermax is performing and doing his master classes. Yeah, Giampiero Lambiase was not moaning when all the cars are moving out of his way at Brazil 2024. You know, Liam Lawson rolling out the red carpet and completely moving out of his way. Wasn't a handling error, was it, from Lawson? That was just, oh, it's Max. Yeah, I'm in the B team. My job is to get out of Max's way, just like the other 3 competitors on the grid. Yeah, they're all people that actually race like hell against Max's competitors and yet jump out of the way of Max Verstappen. Yeah, Giampiero Lambiase, you toxic fuck. You don't say much about that, do you? Just like the number of times where there's a safety car situation where the other drivers seem to be doing all right. They've pitted. Red Bull don't pit. Because then them safety car situations turn into a red flag and Max is able to make all those position gains. Yeah, let's not talk about them either. So that was the Drivers' Championship. That was Max again, just doing enough to make sure that yeah, I've given you a bit of a chance to catch up, Lando there, but you were still shit. You couldn't get the job done. And yeah, we just had the odd victory in there. Now let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship. McLaren now have become the dominant car. They've got 666 points. But they only just beat Ferrari, who have got 652 points. How come Ferrari have foul the fuck away? Red Bull, 589 points. How can a team only get 589 points when they start the season here with, let's just go back to Max's first 10 races of the season. Oh, he has that comeback as well. This is Max's start the season. First, retired. Where's his teammate? Perez, 5th. Japan, first, second, 6th. First. That's the dominant car, isn't it? We've got a second. What's going on? What are you doing to Perez? Perez weren't a bad driver. How come he's now finishing all the way down here all the time? What's going on there? Is this part of the deal? Is this part of the deal that in order to keep everybody sweet and happy, you've got to give them the Constructors' Championship. You've got to give them some sort of success. So, but you've still got to have the Supermax narrative as well. So it's achieving the success that some of the other teams are kicking off about. And so, yeah, you've given McLaren the championship of 666 points for 2024. Ferrari was able to be only 14 points behind. Then it was Red Bull. And then it's Mercedes. So now we move into this season. And we see the development of everybody. Have Ferrari managed to close the gap on McLaren? What about Red Bull? What about Mercedes? It's exciting, isn't it, everybody? It's only live once. You couldn't make it up, could you? Unless they do. Is the Red Bull now a tractor? So, what's going on now? Who's got the fastest car? Max Verstappen. Oh, well, sometimes his car works, sometimes it doesn't. He wins one. Wow, 4th, 6th, 4th, 10th, 5th, 4th, 9th. Retired. See what's going on with Max there. I thought he was Super Max. I thought he was the best driver we've ever seen. You know, you can put Max in any car and he can pedal it faster than everybody else and win races because that is Max Verstappen. Everybody. Why is he not winning then? But now he's won. He's finished second in the Netherlands. He's won. He's second. He's won. He's third. He's third. Not a masterclass there though. He's first. What's happened to the Red Bull now? Have they suddenly worked out how it works again? They've realised that all the development they've done, what have they done? They changed the 2023 car. They didn't change it at the start of 2024 too much because it was still winning for the first 10 races of 2024. And then they weren't allowed to win to give the illusion that other teams were more competitive than them. And now, well, you're still not allowed to have all those performance upgrades, Red Bull, but now you are. Now you are, and we'll just call that it's the upgrades that Red Bull have bought from the Netherlands onwards that have made all of the impact. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And here's Oscar. There he is. Started off with a 9th. Don't know why he was 9th there. Could have been something too long ago. First, third, first, third, first, fourth, second, first, third. And then all of a sudden, falls off a fucking cliff, doesn't he? Retired, fourth, fifth, disqualified, and then fucking second at the last race. What was all this about? Azerbaijan onwards. And Lando Norris. Oh, well, we get a few victories in there for Lando. This is your manipulated championship, Lando. This is what they did for you. See, when here, you couldn't beat this lad. He was smoking you. But this is what they do. It's Lando's turn for McLaren. We take it in turns. Lando's bagsed it this year, everybody. But we don't know. Is it still, do they want the Max Verstappen 5 in a row narrative, equaling Michael Schumacher's 5 in a row, which is what Lewis Hamilton did at Abu Dhabi 2021. It's not yet recorded that Lewis Hamilton's got that championship yet, but it will be. So it will be a record-breaking 8th championship in terms of outright championships, and it will be a record-equaling 5th consecutive title for Hamilton at Abu Dhabi 2021. So, like I say, the record books don't currently state that, but the record books don't currently list that contrivance for exactly what it is. But like many things that are labelled conspiracy theory, they only actually get revealed as being fact when it becomes widely acknowledged that actually, yes, the information we were fed about that was all lies, all narrative. I mean, in the first instance, nobody said that Jeffrey Epstein's island was anything to do with fucking children and raping women. No, that was all legitimate. Jeffrey Epstein was a lovely guy, a friend to all the celebrities. Yes, and if you rub shoulders with them circles, you're with the rich and famous, and you're doing really well. Yeah. But then a few years later, you get to find out that it was fucking atrocity. It's fucking as bad as it gets. But you don't find that out straight away. It takes a few years, okay? And that's what's going to happen with Abu Dhabi 2021. And the perpetrators are going to be held to account for what they did to us all, okay? Because they mind conditioned a fucking planet. Okay, these lying fucks in the media, Martin Brundle and David Croft and every other motherfucker that played their role and took their money to be part of that fraud, the FIA, the stewards, all of the team principals who were just complicit with it, they're all going to be fucking exposed for what they did to each and every one of us in the contrivance of a sport that made them billions and fucked each and every one of us. And they fucked Lewis Hamilton. That's what they did. So what they do this year, who the fuck cares? Like I say, it's no value. I don't give a fuck whether Lando Norris wins because it means nothing. It's a nothing championship. I don't give a fuck where Max Verstappen wins. None of his championships mean anything. His first one was a contrivance, And the Red Bull team has been a fucking contrivance ever fucking seen. It should have been disqualified for breaching the budget back at the start of this era. Cheated. And then we saw the domination in 2022, 23, 2024. They get nobbled. 10 races into the season. Oh, you're not allowed to keep winning. Oh, have they been cheating? Well, if you've been cheating with an asymmetric braking device on your car, that means all the results that you got utilising that device, well, they get wiped out. You get disqualified from them events. Not in Formula One. You get to keep them. We like the Max Verstappen narrative. The best you've ever seen. It's Supermax. He's relentless. It's the T-Max. It's Max Verstappen, everybody. Keep wanking away in the comment section, all you super fanboys. That's what Formula One wants. Wants a super fanboy. You like Max Verstappen, don't you? Yeah, we'll give you Max Verstappen. Super Max. That's what it's given the world. That's the example it sets. Smash other cars off the track. Just be willing to throw your car at them, and if they don't move out the way, there's a crash. That's the way it wants to encourage people to go motor racing. This is the FIA. This is a governing body of the so-called sport. They've also got a responsibility for road safety worldwide. Knowing that they oversee a pinnacle of so-called motorsport that people that drive cars will watch, and that might influence the way that they drive their car, even on roads. I know it shouldn't be the kind of driving that you see on roads, but that is what happens. Entirely corrupt. Anyway, like I say, it doesn't matter what takes place at Abu Dhabi tomorrow. It really doesn't. Wouldn't surprise me if there is some sort of shenanigans. But, again, watch out for this one. If Max does try and back up the pack, there's ways of doing it where it's the legalities of it are something which is questionable. And I won't say it's entirely illegal, but it's also questionable, and this is why. The whole sport is supposed to be racing. When you are racing, okay, you are trying to outperform those competitors around you. Now, that's not intentionally trying to just block them off, right? So if all you're trying to do is drive in an erratic manner, which is causing them to have to take evasive action, otherwise be blocked. There's no brake lights on this car, right? On these Formula One cars. So therefore, when you're following, there's a lot of trust involved. If the car, you're expecting the car in front of you to be travelling at a similar kind of speed to what they would be capable of driving at, so that, because then you're trying to be on the max to compete with them. The car in front of you is purposely not doing so. That's then causing the drivers behind to all have to react to that, and that is creating a dangerous situation. That is in breach of the FIA driving standards. That is actually in breach of it. What Perez did to Hamilton at 2021 was in breach. Now, it depends on how you do it, in as much that if, for example, we know through Abu Dhabi there's the straights where you are not going to be doing that. You obviously have to make sure you're travelling fast enough so that you don't get overtaken. But it's when you get beyond turn 9 and you then go through that section through to the start-finish straight, you can drop the pace off a bit and they're not going to overtake you. Now, providing you don't take the piss, you could go through there a fraction slower than you normally would, making your overall lap time maybe a second or two per lap slower than normal, and that wouldn't be necessarily deemed as driving unnecessarily slowly or dangerously through that section. If you do it more than that, which is what Perez was doing, then you actually are. You're actually driving dangerously by purposefully driving slow, which is making the drivers behind you have to react in a certain way when they're expecting to try and drive that section as fast as they can. Now, it's one of these things that how do you measure it? Where do you draw the line as to what is acceptable and what isn't? There has to be. I'm not in disagreement of Max Verstappen attempting to back the pack up if he thinks that he needs to have a margin between himself and Lando Norris, and therefore needs to see if there's a way that he can influence other cars overtaking Norris. Now, if it's done in such a way like that, don't necessarily have a problem with it, providing it's not done in a dangerous manner. Providing it's done in the manner I've just described, that going through that section of track, you're probably 1 to 2 seconds per lap off what your optimum would be. Any slower than that, then you're making the drivers behind you have to do something significantly different to what they normally would. So that is when you should be flagged for dangerous driving. Because as I say, when you're racing, you are supposed to be driving at a speed that is close to your optimum performance, ideally. That being said, we go to some Grand Prix tracks where they're not driving anywhere near their optimum performance. Who's stewarding it? Who is actually penalising any drivers that are clearly driving well off the pace, such as Fernando Alonso when he's driving his roadblocks like he did in Monaco a few years back. I don't know. This is what you get though when you get these arbitrarily applied rules and regulations by a governing body that will seek to penalise some drivers but not others, depending on how they want to manipulate the outcomes. Are we going to see a disqualified at Abu Dhabi? Are we going to see some screwed up pit stops? Are we going to see safety cars? Who knows? Who knows? Like I say, when a championship's manipulated, nobody should be that vested in the outcome. But Formula One's already got everybody excited anyway. Formula One's done what it needed to do, in as much that it's going to have the eyes of the world on it tomorrow. Cha-ching. Anyway, sorry for rambling on a bit towards the end there. Yeah. It's a shit show. People were genuinely interested in this. People were genuinely... we were all taken in by it. We thought we were watching something authentic. And that's how they treat us. That's what they do. And they'll continue doing it until we do something. So I'm going to try. Because otherwise, this is what they do. This is the blueprint for how things are done to us in our lives by governments, by big corporations anyway. It's about time it got exposed. Anyway, enjoy the Abu Dhabi spectacle tomorrow. Thanks for your time.